di ako nakabati sa inyo kaagad pagdating dahil tulog pa ako. Alam niyo, may kalaban akong matandang tao sa Manila. Pero, maliban dyan, papahidrop pa. Nung 2 araw na nakalipas, sabi ng asawa niya sa television, 38 ang kinita niya. 38. Kaya, gusto ko na naman sana hamunin ng suntukan kasi naman ko na. Ayaw niya. But, anyway, sabi ko sa staff ko, dahil sabi ng isa, huwag kayo pumunta dahil delikado doon. Maraming mamatay tao doon. Yung isa naman, sabi niya, tumawag ng doktor mo, ayaw kong payagan. I've been sick of chronic fatigue syndrome for 1 year. Ang gulo-gulo nila. So, isa ang gulo ninyo. Pupunta na nga ako sa Lyceum. Pumunta ako sa Senado kahapon, lalong mabala lang ang kalusugan ko. Kaya pumunta na lang ako dito dahil dito at least mataas ang IQ. I have a question for you. Politiko ka ba? Ang ganda kasi ng mga mata mo. Ang ganda kasi ng mga mata mo. Kurap ng kurap. Sabi ng gobyerno, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't sell drugs, don't kill. Alam niyo kung bakit? Ayaw ng gobyerno ng kompetisyon. Nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na magtanong ng isang tanong kay God ang mga presidente ng China, USA at Pilipinas. Nauna ang China, ang tanong niya, God, kailan ko po mawawala sa bansa? Kailan po mawawala sa bansa ko ang korupsyon at kahirapan? Sumagot si God, 300 years, anak. Umiyak ang presidente ng China. Patay na ako bago mangyari yan. Sumunod ang presidente ng USA. Ang tanong niya, God, kailan po mawawala sa bansa ko ang korupsyon at kahirapan? Sumagot ang God, 500 years, anak. Umiyak ang presidente ng USA. Patay na ako bago mangyari yan. Sumunod ang presidente ng Pilipinas. Ang tanong niya, God, kailan po mawawala sa bansa ko ang korupsyon at kahirapan? Umiyak si God. Umiyak si God. Patay tayo dyan. Sinawag sa Pilipinas. Dahil puno ng kasamaan ang mundo ngayon, pinuntahan ng Diyos si Noah, na ngayon ay nakatira sa Pilipinas. Inutos sa kanya ng Diyos, gumawa ka ulit ng isang arko. Ilagay mo dito ang 2 pares ng bawat hayop sa mundo. Pagkatapos ng 6 na buwan, uulan at babaha ng 40 araw at gugunawin ko ang mundo. Pagkalipas ng 6 na buwan, binalikan ng Diyos si Noah. Nakita niya na walang arko si Noah. Sabi ni Noah, pasensya na Lord. Hindi ko po natapos ang arko. Iba na po ang panahon ngayon. Number 1, una, kailangan ko raw po ng building permit. Sunod, Nahirapan po akong makakuha ng kahoy na hindi galing sa illegal logging. 3. Mahal po ang kuryente paggawa ng arko. Hindi pa ako makakuha ng discount sa Meralco. 4. Nahirapan po ako makakuha ng environmental permit sa DNR dahil sa mga endangered species na dadalhin po. 5. Ayaw po maniwala sa akin ang pag-asa na may dadating na malakas na equipment nila. 6. Pinapa-lifestyle check ako ng BIR. Dapat daw magbayad ako ng quiz. 7. Hindi din po ako makakuha ng funding sa Congress. Hindi raw nila gusto yung NGO ko. Patawad po, Lord. Hindi ko po natapos ang arko sa loob ng 6 na buwan. Sumagot si Lord. Hindi ko na gugunawin ang mundo. Naunahan ako ng gobyerno. Pag-speech na ba ako, insultuin ko na lang mga kalaban. Ladies and gentlemen of the Lyceum of the Philippines, University in Batangas, I am very, very happy, despite my chronic fatigue syndrome, to come to this campus of the Lyceum of the Philippines University at Batangas City. I have several reasons for defying my doctors in coming here. In 2009, CHED gave to Lyceum the highest award for a university, the award of the Philippine Association of Colleges and Universities cited Lyceum for the highest number of accredited programs in the region and the second highest in the entire country. And number 3, and most important of all, Lyceum Batangas rivals Metro Manila universities in terms of population. Nearly 10,000 will be voters in the 2016 presidential. Hence, I've come in recognition of the fact that some of you will become senators by my good friend and my personal mentor, Dr. Sotero H. Laurel. And at least one of you, I predict, one day, like President Jose P. Laurel will become President of the Philippines. You asked me to talk about leadership. Ang kailangan na leader sa Pilipinas, yung nananampalag ng leadership is defined as, quote, a process of social influence in which one person can enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of a common task, unquote. According to authorities, leadership has 2 dimensions. 1, consideration, which emphasizes good relations. A leader is friendly, approachable, and a good listener. Number 2, initiating structure, which stresses behavior involved in directing. Akala ko kanina security desk. Good plan.
Okay na?
But I won't tell you where.
Nice na.
According to authorities, leadership has 2 dimensions. Consideration, which means that you get on with other people around you. And number 2, initiating structure, which stresses behavior
Akala.
involved in directing the organization, and then we need to define it as goals. This dimension includes the leader's ability to understand the action others can act upon. Ano kasi really? Sinabi ko lang mag-debate tayo.
Matanda na kayo relay. Hindi makapasok.
Ay, security ba rin na rin yan?
Hindi makapasok.
Oo, sige pa. From these two dimensions, we can conclude that the leader performs three basic functions:
Okay?
organizational, interpersonal, and decisional. These functions are essential in the success of a leader. They are played out in the leader's actions and in the leader's relationship with his or her followers. Transactional versus transformational leadership. I don't know why these very long words have become the buzz of leadership articles. There are two kinds of leadership: transactional and transformational. Transactional and transformational. They're very high words, but they don't mean anything complex. Transactional simply means you just transact business from day to day. Ikaw lang muno, araw-araw, ginagawa niyo ang trabaho niyo. Kaya ang dapat tawag sa iyo actually is manager. You manage things. Transactional or managerial leadership is a leadership style that promotes compliance with existing organizational norms through supervision and monitored good performance using traditional rewards and punishments. Transactional leadership is an effective strategy for projects that must closely follow standards. To succeed, transactional leaders are also effective in times of crisis, such as the super typhoon Yolanda. Transactional leadership can be very effective in the right settings. Good coaches of sports teams are transactional leaders. Sports teams operate within rules with very little flexibility, and adherence to organizational norms is the key to their success. Good coaches are able to motivate their team players to play and win. And now let's go to the other kind, transformational leadership. Focuses on the followers' morale and engagement, and attempts to link the followers' sense of self with organizational values. This leadership style stresses leading by example. Leading by example. Paano tayo maging honest na gobyerno? Yung pinaka-leaders natin, mga senador na gusto kong tumakbong presidente o vice-presidente, nagnanakaw ng impact na pera sa ating gobyerno. Kaya paano tayo magpapalit niyan? Hindi nila kaya ang leadership by example. This is the kind of leader we should elect in 2016. I call on the legendary courage of the Batangueños to reject any leader involved in the 10 billion as in B, as in baboy. Reject any leader involved in the 10 billion pork barrel scandal, and to re-elect senators who are fighting to uphold justice among the suspects, despite efforts at black propaganda by the mastermind in the Senate of the plunder conspiracy. Inuulit ko sa inyo, ang mastermind yan hindi si Janet Napoles, kundi leader doon sa loob mismo ng Senado. We not have to choose between these two kinds of leadership. Instead, we should use both kinds of leadership at the same time. We can say that we're using the full range approach of leadership, which seeks to blend the best aspects of transactional and transformational leadership into one comprehensive approach. In this approach, the leader uses techniques from transactional leaders, communicates clear expectations of outcomes and rewards, gives rewards and recognition for accomplishments, and actively monitors the followers' progress and provide supportive feedback. At the same time, the leader, in accordance with transformational leadership, makes international connections with followers, mentors and coaches others, solicits followers' ideas, encourages creativity and individuality, inspires others to perform, and leads by example. Other leadership perspectives. Aside from transactional and transformational leadership, there are other leadership perspectives, namely moral leadership, observant leadership, shared leadership, and emotional leadership, among others. Moral or ethical leadership focuses on how leaders use their social power in the decisions they make, actions they engage in, and ways they influence others. As effective leader influences a subordinate's attitude and values. Thus, a moral leader has moral influence over his or her followers. Observant leadership is exercised when the leader is destined to work for the people in the community. A servant leader looks at what people need and asks how to help people to solve problems. Shared leadership means that leadership is distributed within a team and people within the team lead each other. Emotional leadership is a process that leaders use to influence their followers in a common goal. Leaders in a positive mood can impact their group in a positive way. Charismatic leaders can transmit their emotions and influence followers through so-called emotional contagion, unquote. Developing student leadership. Youth. The youth who will determine the future of the Philippines should not only get involved, but also each one of you should be a leader. Leadership is not about personality. It's about behavior, an observable set of skills and abilities. Leaders are not born. It takes practice to develop the qualities of a leader. Here are some ways to be a leader and develop leadership abilities. Bullet. Become an officer of the glee club, the debate team, the student government, or your class. Just step up. Bullet. Play to your strength. Get involved in something you're passionate about. Every person has a certain talent or skill that he possesses above all others. Hanapin mo yun. Yun ang linya mo, magiging leader ka dyan. Bullet. Even when you don't have the lead role, you can still stand out by contributing as a team player. Being a team player is also a valuable leadership skill. Bullet. Sign up for more than one activity. You don't have to be president of every organization you join, but it is important to be well-rounded. Don't just stick to your comfort zone. Take time to branch out. You might find a hidden talent you never knew you had. Bullet. Be involved in the larger community outside your campus. It shows that you care, that you are versatile, and that you want to make a difference. Good student leaders share the following characteristics. 1. Integrity. Integrity is the foundation of leadership, and it is especially important for students trying to establish themselves as lifetime leaders. Leaders with integrity are trustworthy, honest, and able to consistently follow through on their promises. Nakita niyo sa TV kagabi, ulit-ulit ang sinasabi sa testigo, let it go, let it go. Kasi pinipingit niya na inosente siya, pero alam niya kung paano sila nag-kickback doon sa opisina niya. Eh kako sa kanya, kung inosente ka, ibig sabihin, wala kang alam tungkol sa nangyayari. At kung alam mo ang nangyayari, hindi ibig sabihin, kasabwat na rin. You have to be part of the inner circle of crooks to be able to know the crooks operate. That's why he's trying to tell him, you're still trying to protest your innocence, although the facts are against you. So let it go, as the princess has said in that Disney movie. Let go all your fears and all your fantasies about evil and danger in the world. Basta gawin mo lang ang tama. Compassion for others, a desire to help others succeed, and a simple willingness to help others is the most genuine trait of a student leader. Showing that you care motivates other students to follow your example. Number 3, initiative. Student leaders step in when help is needed. They offer support to fellow students and they overcome peer pressure to do what is right. Student leaders are typically self-starters, push themselves to succeed. And finally, number 4, vision. Student leaders need to have a vision to be able to look above yourself and despite yourself, to be attached and connected to the world and to the universe, and not necessarily obsessed only with your own ego. Student leaders need to have a vision and a sense of purpose to accomplish things. Yung kalaban ng matanda na yan. Walang integrity, walang compassion, walang initiative, walang vision. And what is more? What is more? Ingit-ingit siya sa sakbil ko. Sa mga asawa niya, 38 ang hinila niya. No wonder kumanda ng hindi oras.
Boss.
I have one final word on student leadership. The 2016 presidential elections will be a test of leadership during these dark days. These particular times when government is investigating the 10 billion peso pork barrel scandal. As leaders of our country, and don't mistake yourself for other than what you are the leaders of our country. You come to one of the best schools, not only this province, but also the country. As potential leaders of our country, you should practice as leaders by advising your respective communities about the pork barrel scandal in relation to the 2016 elections as follows. Usapin mo yung mga kapitbahay mo, yung mga kamag-anak mo, hindi kapag-eskwela ka mukha mo. Itong darating, inaalaman. The Supreme Court has declared pork barrel as unconstitutional. Hindi pala tama yung pork barrel na yun. Ang ibig sabihin ng pork barrel, bawat taon meron tayong tatawag na national budget. Doon nakalagay magkano sa tingin ng gobyerno kikitain natin sa mga pagmagkita ng mga buwis na binabayad natin, mga customs duties doon sa mga imports natin. At saan pupunta yung perang kikitain natin? Kaya pupunta yan iba sa Department of Agriculture, sa DNR, etc. Ngayon, ang ginawa nitong mga gagawin ito, noon pa, pag kumuha sila ng budget, sisigit nila na may pera sila bawat isa. Na ang pera nila, natatawag na pork barrel, ay 70 million pesos bawat congressman at 200 million pesos bawat senador. At libre ka, mamili ka daw ng project mo. Ngayon ang skandalo ay dahil sa natuklasan na wala ka ng mga projects. Dati nagnakaw sila 10%. Pikit mata lang Pilipino, dahil 10% lang naman eh. Tapos nag-20, tapos nag-30. Tapos ngayon, 50 na at wala kang project. Yan ang dahilan kung bakit napaka-skandalo ito sa buong karanasan ng ating bayan. Biro mo, nakaw lang plain and simple. Dati nagkukomisyon lang sila, kickback lang sila. Ngayon wala na talagang proyekto. Hatian na lang sila ang senador at ang NGO. Ngayon, during the time when pork barrel was still a legitimate exercise of the power to reduce poverty, it became a widespread source of corruption from no less than the leaders of our country. You're masaklap eh. It was a top to bottom process. Nag-upisa sa pinakaitaas, hindi na nag-upisa ng maliit-liit dito sa mga barangay captain na sumakyat. It's not a bottom-top process. Kung hindi, doon mismo sa leader, doon nagagaling ang corruption na iyon. Kanya-kanya silang nakaw ng pera ng ating gobyerno. That is why we're often met when we ask, bakit hindi tayo preparado sa climate change? Bakit ang kamahal ng tuition? Paragi tayo sinasagot kasi walang pera ng gobyerno. Ang daming pera ng gobyerno. I proved it when I was Immigration Commissioner. Because this country is one of the richest countries in God's earth. How do you say in Tagalog? Sinusuyo tayo ng ibang bansa dahil gustong-gusto nila makuha ang ating mineral resources. We are very, very rich in gold, copper, chromium, and etc. Kaya ni China na yon, nag-declare yan ng West Philippine Sea ay is the entirety of the East China Sea dahil gusto nila yung ating patubig, hindi lamang ating isda, wala yun. Kung hindi yung ating mineral sa ibaba, lalo ng ating energy resources like oil below the seabed, plus our mineral resources. If you go down to the seabed, nandyan ang kayamanan, ng likas na kayamanan ng ating bansa. That is the reason. We're a very rich country, and there is no reason why we should be poor. It's only because we are so corrupt, and none of us have the bravery. Kaya ako pumunta sa Batangas kasi ang duduwag din yung mga tanga, kaya pupunta na ako doon. This sordid case of plunder in our political history is evidence that corruption is a top-down process. Therefore, we should not re-elect any senators or congressmen running for re-election in 2016 if they are among those against whom the Ombudsman will file criminal charges for plunder or malversation in the trial court known as Aligan Bayan. Alam mo kung may kaso kriminal, una, gagawa ka kung ikaw nagreklamo, nagtitawag na affidavit complaint mo or complaint affidavit. Tapos bigay mo sa fiscal, tapos tatawagin naman yung kalaban mo, magbigay naman siya ng counter affidavit. Yun ang natawag na preliminary investigation. Doon pa lang tayo ngayon sa pork barrel scandal. Nagbigay ng affidavit itong mga whistleblowers at nagbigay ngayon ng counter affidavit itong mga dinimanda na akusado sa plunder or sa malversation. Hindi pa tayo malapit sa sampa ng kaso sa sandigan. But the moment that the complaint is filed by the Ombudsman, who is acting like a prosecutor, with the trial court, yung mga dinimanda ng Ombudsman, dapat dyan, hindi na sila i-re-elect. Kasi may prima facie case sila eh. Prima facie is the standard of proof required of a prosecutor or the Ombudsman. In Latin, it means at first glance. Kaya, ibig lang sabihin, ang daming papeles na bigay na sa Ombudsman at first glance, makikita mo may kasalanan sila. Kaya pag dinimanda sila sa Ombudsman, tandaan niyo yan. Yung mga dinimanda din, huwag nang iboto. Kasi mayroon na silang, there's a question mark over their heads. Of course, they enjoy the presumption of innocence, pero kung matagal pa kaya yung lista na yun. Because in our country, justice takes so long. Kaya dapat yan, lahat na implicated or konektado dito sa skandalo na ito, oras na sampahan sila ng plunder case sa korte mismo ng Ombudsman, dapat hindi na iboto. While all this investigation is going on, particularly on television, when the Blue Ribbon Committee conducts hearings and examines alleged witnesses, you will notice that certain politicians and other members of the high and mighty in society refrain from participating in the national debate on the pork barrel scandal. They are conspicuous by their silence. Bilangin nyo, ilan kaming senador? 24 kami. Ilan kami ang nademanda? At least 3. Ngayon, ano ngayon ang ginagawa ng iba? Yung iba talaga ayaw sila ng plunder cases na yon. Kinakalaban nila na talagang madala sa katarungan itong mga nababanggit. Isa na ako doon. Pero marami, hindi nag-attend ng hearings. At wala silang sinasabi, para silang mga pipi. Para silang 3 monkeys. Hear nothing, see nothing, do nothing. Tapos ang takbo naman sila sa 2016, dalakalan nila, nakapag-wise guy sila na wala silang kalaban. Lahat, kaibigan nila. Honest ka man, corrupt ka man, okay lang sa kanila. Basta tatagumpay na naman sila pag tinulungan mo. This kind of cowardice is anathema to leadership. Huwag silang maging leader kung ganun pala sila kaduwag. Asawa lang nila, takot na sila eh. Hence, in conclusion, I urge you, go back to your community and advise your relatives and neighbors to reject politicians who are consistently silent for the pork barrel scandal. Magsalita naman kayo, sabihin nyo doon sa mga senador na iba. Bakit ang dami yung dakdak ng dakdak? kung ibang bagay. Pero dito sa pork barrel, wala kayong kaimik-imik. Hindi ba kayo nag-attend, hindi kayo magpapakita. Saka palagi silang nag-self-propaganda na marami daw silang nagawa sa pork barrel. Nilang natanggap para sa kanilang mga distrito o sa kanilang mga hometowns. Ano to? Marami silang pinapagawa dahil mas marami silang pinapagawa, mas malaki ang kickbacks nila. Kaya huwag kayong maniwala sa mga iyon. Dapat yan ipalokot, kung pwede lang. Yung kanila, make no enemies. On the contrary, I observe, make enemies of every corrupt person in this country. Make enemies of every person. Wala naman sila magagawa eh. Papatay ka lang naman nila. Eh sa atin na simbahan, magbuhay tayo ulit. Eh magpapatay nila ako, abangan ko sila. Yung pagkaduwag na yan, this is the mantra of the unprincipled person. Pag may prinsipyo ka, panindigan mo. In other words, those candidates who are very silent are opportunists. Mga opportunista. He does not act out of conviction, but out of what is convenient for him. This is a test I want you to apply as the 2016 elections approach. Apply the test of leadership among the candidates. In my view, in my humble view, leadership is the courage to take risks in defense of a position that is both legal and moral. The politician who tries to become a wise guy by becoming friends to everybody, corrupt or not, is not a leader. That kind of a politician does not deserve to be invited as a guest speaker at the Lyceum of the Philippines University. That kind of politician I abhor at first sight. Ang pangit mo. And that kind of politician I will fight to the death. Even if he has all the money and the power in the country, and even if he can afford to pay an entire army of corrupt journalists to destroy me, and an entire army of paid assassins to threaten me. I will take my courage from my audience of these people from Batangas, the great, the good, the very brave Batangas. Allow me to end with a passage from a very famous poem that we studied in high school. The poem is entitled Invictus, meaning always fighting back, never afraid. Invictus. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Ladies and gentlemen of Lyceum, prove to our country that you are the masters of your faith and the captains of your soul. Thank you very much.
The master of my faith and the captain of my soul. Thank you very much.